All right, people. I think we're live. What's up, people? What's up, people? What's up, people? It is your boy, MM2K, back again with another episode of, Stadia live session. I want to apologize that we had multiple time skirts. It was originally to be what at 11:30. Then I had to push it back. I had to go get me some food. Old man got to take his medicine. I got to have my food, and then it took a little bit longer. You know, me with my old man eating ways. It took me a little bit longer to get through it. So, with that said, we're here, people. I don't have a lot of time because I got to get out of here and get the general, aka my wife, or you will never have a Stadia live session. It will be Stadia dead session with just you staring at me laying in a fetal position in a ditch somewhere because my wife killed me. So I got to be out of here by a certain time before the turn of the hour. What you're watching here is some of my gameplay. If you haven't caught it yesterday from Fenyx Immortal Rising, I love the demo. After being online with the homie Eddie and the homie Storm, and chopping it up about that. And then we had the controversy. We'll get into that. Me and my wife went out, had some dinner, took care of some stuff, came back, got back home late. And then I played some more of the demo on the on my Sabrina Chromecast. And yes, if you side loaded on Sabrina, there was somebody on Twitter. I didn't forget about you. I was eating, trying to get ready for the show. As soon as the show is over, my good friend, I will definitely show you the link that I use to sideload Sabrina. So, I got Stadia sideloaded on there on the Sabrina Chromecast, and I play on it regularly. It's not the ideal way to play because, again, it's not fully supported. I mainly play Division on there, and when I'm playing Division on there, I do get some frame skips here and there. I do get some issues with the Bluetooth and latency. If I'm using a third-party controller, my recommendation is this is what you want to do. You want to start off, if you're going to sideload the Sabrina Chromecast, you're going to want to start off with a third-party controller. So you got to have an Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, whatever controller in the house. Then you have to, after you use that controller, turn it off. That then prompts the Stadia application in there what do you call it? It prompts the Stadia application to then look for the Stadia controller, and then you can put the button prompts in and pair the controller. So that's the main way that I play. Is with the Stadia controller wirelessly. You can use the PlayStation 4 controller. The PlayStation 4 controller is a great controller to use. So I recommend that too if you want to leave your Stadia controller somewhere else or something like that. But the Xbox controller can give you some problems. Xbox controller is known to have some serious latency to it. Hence why there's even some games on Stadia that have less latency on them than when you're using the Stadia controller over when you're playing it natively on Xbox One X with the Xbox controller. But Xbox is looking to fix that with the Series X. That's one thing that I will say. I don't want to go too far in the weeds here. That's one thing I will say that's impressive that isn't being talked about. That whole non-latency or rapid, whatever the hell they're calling it, that velocity architecture BS, all that's BS. Those are all marketing terms that at the end of the day are not going to give Xbox the push that they need if they continue to focus on that. It's going to be a repeat of the Xbox One X and the PlayStation 4 Slim, all over again. What could potentially give it that push out of the gate is how they're cutting back latency on the controller. My God. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this on a console. Unbelievable. So you definitely check that out, man. It's crazy. So if they're performing that across the board, that's something that they should really say, hey, look, now you can really play your games in a way that is more, I think that lands more with the average consumer. The average consumer understands latency, not to necessarily the term, but button delays and smoothness of control. They understand that more than they understand frames per second. You know what I mean? So I think that should be their biggest marketing ploy, being that their launch lineup may be a little bit lighter than some would have anticipated. But with that said, hey, do me a huge favor, y'all. Tweet this out. Let everybody know that we're live. Oh, excuse me. Let everyone know that we're live. I need to practice my own advice. Let me see. I'm gonna practice my own advice. And I'm going to tweet this out as well. You're live. Okay. For some reason I can't. All right. Twitter wants to act up. Okay. Let's do this here. And then, oh, what the hell? Oh, come on. Come on, Twitter. Stop acting like you got a problem. Stop acting like you got problems. Okay, there we go. Do it like that. And then we switch back over to here. There you go, Twitter. I know you can do it. You're a good data boy. Data boy. All right. So we tweeted that out. Now I want to go to Discord real quick and tweet this out to the Discord. Don't switch. What is it? Okay. Real quick. For those that are having issues with the new, what do you call it? If you're having issues with the new Discord and you use voice meter, if you use voice meter again and you're having issues with the new Discord, you got to change your buffer. You got to go into the settings and change your buffer if you're using the WDM or the ME. For those that use voice meter, don't know what I'm talking about. If you're using WDM or ME protocols for your outports, ports, and your imports, I highly recommend that you go to voice meter, go into the settings, and then you have to change your buffer. You got to increase your buffer. Here's what I did. I use WDM for my sound protocol in voice meter. So because I use WDM, ME's buffer takes up more memory. They allot they allot a gigabyte of memory to the ME buffer or the ME protocol. So and then they only allot 512 to the WDM. So I reversed it because I don't use the ME protocol. I use WDM, which is Windows Digital Master, whatever the hell that is. I switched it. I allotted the memory to the one that I used, the gigabyte, you know what I mean? And now I don't have the problems when I'm in Discord. And you guys will see tomorrow on SML. So a little bit of nerd talk right there. I get it while we set everything up, but that was the problems that I was having here. Let me shout out to the chat, to all you wonderful, you beautiful people. You beautiful people. We got Froggy V in the house. We got Zogic. We got Gamer Boy. Still kills me with the what's it called? He says, I hope Ubisoft Optimizer reach 60 with that. Brokery, here's the thing. I was talking about this last night. Let me do this. I was talking about this last night. It's 30 frames per second because you're inviting the world to play this game. And to deal with the load of people that you could have potentially got, which we're going to talk about that because I think it didn't land the way it should have beyond this whole controversy. This is why I don't want to focus on this controversy too much. But it didn't land as well as it could have because of some miscues. But what you got to understand too is that they're inviting the world to this. So for server capacity, to make sure that the gameplay is smooth, this is the smoothest. Not only is this the smoothest launch, title, demo, whatever it is that I've ever played on Stadia, like day one. Because normally my experience with Stadia is day one, there might be a hiccup or something, nothing major, nothing catastrophic, but there's usually a hiccup. Even Division, which is the best, port, whatever you want to call it, on Stadia right now, that had day one hiccups. And y'all remember when I went there and I was going crazy. I was going ape nuts because of it, right? So to ensure smoothness, they just locked it they locked it, not capped it, they locked it at a 30 frames per second, and it feels good. So because of that, I don't have any concerns. Ubisoft always ensures that there's some type of 60 frames per second mode. If they can get it into 4K, they'll bake it into the 4K. If not, there'll be a 1080p 60 mode. But they always ensure that there's some type of there's some type of 60 frames per second mode, and there's no reason to not believe that with this, period. So, but good point. What's up, Wilson? Charles Aran, my homie Clive Linden. He said, "Where's my invite?" I'm gonna get you now. Clive. If I had more time, Clive is my spiritual advisor on Stadia. When I see a lot of rhetoric and bibble babble, I always I go looking for Clive. Clive is like my bottle. If I'm an infant in my Similac, that's Clive was like, "Hold on, buddy." He said, "Where's this going?" But sometimes I just shake my head and I roll my eyes when I see some of this stuff out here, and I go looking for Clive, because Clive, he has a little bit more patience than me. I like having those smart, spot on discussions that don't get mucked up in peripheral stuff. You know what I'm saying? And when I feel that shifting, that's when the eyes start going in the back of the head like The Exorcist, and then I go, Clive, I go looking for his content, and I go look for a tweet or something from Clive, and it always brings me back. So again, Clive, I deeply feel bad if it seemed like I was propositioning you. My apologies. Hendo was in the house. What is up, Hendo? Ray Sherrod, what's going on? And now your mama knows what's going on. All right, let's get into this, y'all. Okay. So here's the thing. First and foremost, I want to talk about briefly this whole thing with this Alex Hutchinson. Okay, for those of you that don't know, if you live under a rock, Alex Hutchinson, a creative director at one of the Google Stadia studios in Montreal, said something that was absurd and bonehead. He said that in a discussion that was started about DMCA and music, and people complaining about, copyright strikes over music, he brought it to a whole new weird behind parallel, and he started talking about why people should start expecting or not be surprised if the same thing happens to them for streaming a game that they didn't pay for. Now I could sit here and I can clench my fists and grit my teeth, and I can do all that. This is so stupid, it's wrong. I can do that for several hours and beat this guy to a bloody pulp over the internet. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. And here's why I'm not going to do that. This comment was so stupid, and it was so off key, and it sounded like it was so beyond the pale that what is there to discuss in regards to the comment? Now, I get where people want to have discussions on the aftermath and the implications. We'll talk about that. But I still think a lot of that is, I'm going to say, is overblown. I'll explain why. But as far as trying to parse down, to waste the energy, and I hate to say this, I'm not trying to be mean. But again, sometimes we got to pace ourselves and think before we get knee-jerk and we react. And when I say all of this, I got to say, this got to be my new disclaimer. I'm not pointing out a singular person. Whenever I come live and I'm here, I am talking about actions of a grouping of the community or whatever. If I feel that somebody, and people that know me knows this, if I feel that somebody is doing something that is unbecoming of them and they're making themselves look bad or whatever the case may be, as the friend that I am or the person that I am, I will come and let you know individually. I don't have to go on air to deal with a one individual. And secondly, it's a waste of my time and your time for me to go online and talk about what one person did here and one person did there. So just so we clear the air, so there are no mysteries, because I get a lot of people that message me and say, why are you attacking this person? Why? When I never named a person. And number two, I'm not attacking anybody. I'm going after a mantra. All right. I'm going after a notion. And trust me. And again, not to say anything about anybody. I love everyone, but not one person is going to drive me to get on air and say something just because of their opinion, unless they are someone, up there like a Hutchinson or part of a, what's it called? And it's going to be policy rendering. If it's policy rendering, the person is high enough up there in the food chain, and I'm not saying I am, I'm just saying if the person is high up in the food chain, and it's going to have implications to what I am able to do with said product, then I'm going to open my mouth. But believe you me, let's make it abundantly clear. I never hit the airwaves and talk to one person. That's a waste of my time, and more importantly, a waste of your time. So understand here, I'm surveying the field, and I'm addressing things that are happening out in the community as far as bulks are concerned. Let's see here. Victor says, hiya, and Brokery Food says, thanks to this guy, Young A made more money bashing Stadia. And yeah, okay. So we're going to get into this, right? With Alex Hutchinson, the reason why I don't want to waste the effort and the energy is twofold. Number one, I don't want to waste it. Well, really, it's threefold. I don't want to waste the energy because, like I was saying before, what he said is stupid. And trying to dwell too much into what he said when there is no consensus anywhere. Nobody agrees with this guy. I'm not even sure if he agrees with himself anymore. This guy has said salacious stuff in the past. He said something crazy, and I'm not going to highlight it too much, but if I saw something somewhere where he said something about Japanese games and how they're overrated and why they're overrated, and if the excerpt that I saw is true, then that just shows you why we don't need to pay attention to this guy, that he is not someone to listen to. And with that being said, there's no consensus even from Google. So this does not appear to be, there's not going to be any policy rendering actions based upon this. Everybody has sidestepped this guy like the plague. And to me, I kind of made a hint to this. And again, I hate to use such a crass example, but again, this is the first thing that came to mind. Well, I'm not going to give this too much energy besides this, letting you guys air your thoughts about on it here on the open mic, and then we're moving on. It reminds me of the whole Jeffrey Toobin CNN thing. For those of you that don't know who Jeffrey Toobin is, that is the guy that is the legal expert at CNN. He's been the legal expert for years. He was made famous, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody in the chat that's old enough to remember, he was made famous doing analysis, I think on Court TV when the OJ trial was happening. And ever since then, they picked him up and they use him all the time. Well, Jeffrey Toobin, for all intents and purposes, as is reported, was on a live Zoom call with some other people and exposed himself and was playing whack-a-mole. He didn't think nobody could see him, but he was playing whack-a-mole on live TV. I mean, not on live, on Zoom. Now, as abhorrent as that behavior was, and as how crazy it was, I mean, that thing went everywhere. It went everywhere. Everybody was talking about it. It trended everywhere. Twitter, news feeds everywhere. Fox News, who was CNN's competitor, they had a field day with it. Just like how Brokery Foods just pointed out that Yang Ye is going to make a living off of this. He gonna eat mighty healthy today off of that. Everybody had something to say about it. Even OJ himself, who thought he would use that to take shots back at Jeffrey Toobin, because Jeffrey Toobin has been known since the OJ trial to just hammer it in on OJ. He went live and made a video. Everybody talked about it. And they were talking about it for days. But if I am an outfit, which I consider this to be, where I am having a serious discussion about why I think others should engage with Stadia and how we can help Google with that engagement, Hutchinson has nothing that I care about in that foray. I am not telling anybody not to cover Hutchinson, but something salacious like that really has no intelligible communication as far as I'm concerned behind it, because nobody believes it. I don't even believe he believes it. I don't know what's going on with the guy. The guy is crazy. Like I said, he said crazy, ridiculous stuff in the past. I'm not going to entertain it because it don't fit into my litmus of, hey, we are talking about why people should engage with Stadia, and because I like the platform so much, why people should engage with it that may like it as well. If you don't like the platform, then go ahead and move on. Then not a problem. I'm not forcing a purchasing decision on anybody. But for those people that are into ABC, you may like it. So we're trying to help get people engaged with the platform and at the same time point out areas where Stadia can do better in that engagement. And while we're doing that, we're making sure that everybody is transparent, everybody is telling the truth, and the truth is exposed for anybody that fits into that equation. That pipeline being built between potential consumers that may like this product and Google, Stadia. And not because I'm getting anything from Google. Google sent me a care package when I hit 200, a book bag and a goddamn coffee mug. Excuse my French, I'm sorry. But this point I want to address because I'm not an idiot. I don't want to go down to Dramaville, but I'm not an idiot. I'm getting these DMs and random people saying things to me like I'm on Google's payroll, which it's not a coincidence. I get it. People get together and they talk. I get it. I get people that try to drag stuff out of me about other entities or whatever all the time. All of the time. And I don't engage. And therefore, I get that the community is split and they get in this in sectors and all that other stuff. And sometimes my opinion on that may rub some people the wrong way, whatever. But with that being said, anyone's attempt to try to make it seem like that there's an ulterior motive to the information that I'm sharing, it's only a reflection on those people that try to do that. Because everything that I've said, and again, I hate to, is Lloyd here? I hate to toot my own horn. But every time that I've said, not a big deal, not a big deal, don't worry about it, it's come to light. Remember the Connect? I was upset. Hey, look, that Connect is bad. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10. Hold on. I've looked at some of the tracking tools that I have, and I got to change my mind on that. And then I've heard some philosophies from some of my colleagues. I got to change my mind on that. It is going over well. And lo and behold, this data fell in my lap that proved what I said. And we all know it. The platform has grown from it. Everybody that's playing Stadia can now personally attest to in some shape, form, or fashion that they see more engagement with the platform. They can see more people talking about it. You can even go online and check tracking. Go look at the Ampere group. They talk about it. And so forth and so forth. Right? I was right about that. Look, guys, be careful. It looks like that this Connect is going to bode well more than we originally thought. And there was this concern about Sabrina. Google is sending a message that they don't care about Stadia. This is going to have long-lasting implications, right? There is no getting around this. Remember that? And I remember when I told you that I was addressing the Stadia community, and I said, hey, look, guys, be careful with this because there's not enough in the data that shows that this has legs except for the clickbaity hate artists that are looking to make material off of this. And I was ignored. And what happened? Love him to death, but Trip Broadband Bully's good friend Rich Review Tech did the same thing. Young Ye, I think, dropped something, and somebody else dropped something. That was it. And they basically verbatim ripped off the stuff that we were saying in the community. They didn't do no research on this. They did no research. They saw that people that actually play Stadia are saying something bad. Ooh, here's my opportunity. Did I not say that? If I'm wrong in the chat, let me know. Did I not foreshadow that? And now we're here. And then there's been little stuff in between. I'm not going to waste time and go over everything. Now we're here. So now that we're here, this is what I want to say. I don't want to give this guy too much oxygen. I am not doubting that when he went on air and said what he said yesterday, that it was going to get a lot of boom and kaboom. It did. 50,000 tweets. But need I remind you that what he said is not policy rendering? Everybody stepped away from him, and we've had instances where Xbox and PlayStation have said things that were policy rendering, that people talked about longer, that got more oxygen on Twitter, that got more oxygen with the media, right? All that stuff. And Xbox and PlayStation are fine. Why? Because subsequent to all those controversies, they just dropped the games. Need I remind you that in May of 2020, when Xbox, now this guy's tweets got 50,000 tweets. Alex Hutchinson's tweets reached 50,000 on Twitter, and they were mostly negative. Now, I may argue with some that it was all negative where people were specifically talking about Google, even though there were associations made to Google. Readily right after that, Google's sidestep away from this guy went out and it spread just as fast. So now everybody knows that this bonehead comment was made from this crazy guy at Google. They may be asking, what were you going to do with him? Just like people were asking CNN, what are you going to do with Jeffrey Toobin? CNN put him on sabbatical, whatever you call it, put him away for a little bit. Google sidestepped it. The general public don't understand the Google Stadia infrastructure. So because Google addressed it, they feel like Stadia addressed it. We internally know better, right? We internally know better. But the general public, because they're so ignorant to Stadia, because they listen to the Yang Ye's in the mainstream media, they don't know any better. So they think that they addressed it. They sidestepped the guy, they addressed it, and they went about their business. But need I remind you that when Xbox had that May, Inside Xbox, where everybody bashed it, there were 56,000 tweets on that. 56,000 tweets of nothing but negative. Y'all didn't show no gameplay. Y'all was talking about the most powerful console. When are we going to see this? They decimated Xbox. Inside Xbox decimated Xbox. It was all in the news. Decimating Xbox. This got big on social media, but I don't see the tracking in the news articles and all the podcasts like we saw with that. And to be honest with you, when it comes to the news tracking, guess what's getting the most popularity for Stadia? Humankind. The Humankind demo is the number one tracking thing for Stadia right before I went live. Across everywhere. Well, no. I'll take that back. It's the number one tracking thing in the news articles. Apologies for that. Let's be very clear and very, direct and concise. The Humankind demo is getting the biggest traction for Stadia. Wherein with that poor May offering from Xbox, Everywhere. The number one story in gaming, Twitter altogether, everything was Xbox having a bad showcase. Everybody in the gaming space was talking about it profusely everywhere. And guess what? Xbox is still one of the most anticipated platforms beyond PlayStation going into this gen. Another Xbox thing that has happened is the infamous Halo issue. Halo had 330,000 tweets, negative tweets, that not only went viral on social media, but was blasted everywhere as well. Guess what? Xbox bought Bethesda. Since then, they are now one of the most anticipated platforms going into next gen. So, before we talk long-term ramifications, my suggestion, but people can talk about whatever they want to talk about. I don't care. It's not going to change my content. And I'm not trying to curtail anyone else. I'm just sharing experience that I have. What I'm saying is, before we talk in definites about what's going to have what type of ramifications, we got to look at parallels where they apply. The overwhelming majority of people still don't know what a Stadia is. And for those that are in the casual market that happen to see it trending on social media and happen to look, saw that that most of the comments that were negative about this Hutchinson guy. Now, I will admit that there were the Stadia haters that were going ape nuts and saying, yeah, Stadia's dead. That's not a good look for Stadia. And I don't feel bad for Google about that. That's their fault. Why? Because I said in the past, just again, follow me here. I didn't start doing this yesterday. I said, when you have such a lackadaisical social media policy, it's going to bite you in the butt. I said that like 2 or 3 TSIs ago. Did I not say that? Tell me if I'm right or if I'm wrong. It's an open chat. It's an open mic. Tell me if I'm right or if I'm wrong. My spiritual advisor said, good analogy. The Xbox Halo issue was massive. Now everything is cool with Xbox. Yes, all they had to do was make the power move. It's all forgotten. This is the gaming community they have short-term memory. Serious short-term memory. From all of the data and the tracking that I see, the largest ramifications that this is going to have long-term is not with casuals, because this doesn't connect with casuals. Casuals don't even understand the culture of streaming. They're not saying, oh, they're trying to take my streaming away from me. They don't stream games. They're like, oh, they probably understand what was being said and said, oh, that sounds stupid, whatever. A Stadia, what is this? And I know Clive has been on the bandwagon of, hey, look, let's turn lemons into lemonade. Now that you are getting that attention, put some stuff out there. Because a lot of the people that saw this, they don't know who you are. And a lot of them, really the dynamic in this conversation, they don't care. We got to understand how a casual gamer does not care about streaming. They don't. But I will tell you who this did hit home with, which is a shame because humankind is tracking well for Stadia. And that's the PC enthusiast. The PC enthusiast that is likely into humankind and games like that better understands and is more likely streaming themselves. This didn't bode well with them. And we got to see, there is no clear indication at this point, but we got to continue to watch that tracking. We got to see how well humankind continues to track. We got to watch their comments, but it's not etched in stone yet. I feel that any inclination that this definitively has had some hardcore inclinations with a particular sector right now, I think that's too preemptive. We got to get it some time and see how this lands, particularly with them. When you go check the news tracking articles, humankind is number one. You want to know what's number two, though? Is the fact that iOS access for Stadia people was taken away when Stadia was wiped off. That's number two. I can't remember what was number three, but it's not Alex Hutchinson, nor is it Fenyx Rising, Immortals Fenyx Rising, which is a problem. Which definitely is a problem. And what I'm going to do is, because I'm running out of time, folks, I'm sorry. What I'm going to do is either later today in the stream or tomorrow on SML, I'll get more into what I think was wrong with the showcase. Overall, I think it was good. It brought some attention. But I'm the type of person that in the Fortune 500 world, I'm always looking for maximum benefit. I've always been hard like that on my team, on myself. And I don't like leaving anything left on the table. And I think that even though this event overall went over well, beyond the whole controversy that is the smokescreen at the moment, I think despite that smokescreen, which is that event, that was that controversy, I think that Stadia missed some opportunities to go even deeper. Because Fenyx isn't tracking in the news. And that's when you know you're doing well. You can get it. Hey, look, if you're getting positive inclination on social media, that's great. But where it's deep rooted in is if you're getting it in the news articles. Because the news articles, what? They spawn the social media posts, correct? Yes, somebody can send out a tweet, but the things that are long lasting is when IGN sends out a little, a teaser sentence or two, and then they got an article with that, and people start reading the article. Those are the things that have the long lasting effect because they don't go away because they're articles. And Fenyx Rising is not tracking. Humankind is, which is great. Fenyx Rising isn't. And it should be. And that's a problem. I think they didn't capitalize well enough. And we'll talk about that tomorrow. But again, here on this channel, believe you me, I don't have no problem with sectors of the community, whether you're in a chat or in a panel, or you're a content creator, an influencer, a public. I don't care if you want to talk about Alex. Talk about him. I'm not doing it here. I'm not doing it here because, again, I want to have laser-focused conversations based upon reaching those that potentially could like Stadia, conjoining the pipeline between Stadia and those people that may like it so they're not talking past each other or not missing each other, and they can better communicate. Hence why I'm going to touch on why I think Stadia missed, really squeezing every bit of lemon juice out of this thing, out of this lemon. And doing our best to make sure that the truth prevails, even if we got exposed to lie. That's the focus of this content. To me, talking in detail about Alex and what he had to say is salacious. And I don't mean that in a negative way for that, but it's salacious. It's just, let's talk. It's stupid. We know what he said is stupid. It's stupid. Nobody agrees with it. Even the company that's paying him. Nobody agrees with this guy. Now I get people may want to see where this lands as far as affecting people's a perspective of the platform. But I'm telling you from what I see, which fits in part of that narrative of creating that pipeline and helping people talk with Google talk with them, and also exposing the truth, looking at all of the data that I have at my disposal, because I didn't start doing this yesterday. Been doing this with broadband bullies. We have connections. Like I said, we have people that talk to people in high areas at these console places. Everything that we've predicted, when we told y'all in advance that Crackdown 3 was in trouble, and some people from Windows called us out and called us idiots and blocked us, and they were wrong. They had to write exactly what we were saying. That was because of our connections. When my homie Post Up, who I rarely agree with, came out of the work and said, yo, PlayStation is being known for having some yield problems. Before yields were even talked about, PlayStation is having some yield problems. They were actually trying to release in 2019 and couldn't do it because of these yield problems. And therefore, that's how the variable, whatever, the 9.7 to the 10.3 came about, because they knew that if they're launching in the same year with the Xbox, they would have to increase that CPU somehow. They weren't worried about the 9.7 at first because they were launching a year earlier. They knew they was going to be weaker, but because they were launching earlier, they thought that they had a leg up on the competition. But now that they're dropping out in the same year, they were like, oh, we got to have a little bit more T-flops. That was their concern. Post Up talked about that first. How? Because of our connections. When I was able to become blessed and fortunate enough to get a pipeline to somebody that could give you raw numbers on how many Xboxes were sold when it was such a mystery, and because of that pipeline, I was able to find our good friend John Petty of the John Petty Research Institute out there in California, same institute that works globally with different Fortune 500 companies, Samsung and the likes. And we were able, because of my communication with this individual, we were able to bring him on the show and interview this guy, only to his dismay, because the Xbox fanboys were like, he was lying, only for a year later for his data to be validated and everything that we sit on that show to be validated. How did we do that? Because of our connections. I didn't just start doing this yesterday. And I hate to say this, but I got to be abundantly clear. I did not just start doing this yesterday. And I have no reason to come here and lie to you guys about trends that I'm seeing. And I have no reason to come out here and do it because I'm trying to get cozy with Google. Like I've told you guys before from the very beginning, I cannot carry a Fortune 500 company, a multi-trillion dollar company on my back. They got to do the work. But all I know is I like this product. And because I like this product, I feel that there's other people that are going to like it too. So I'm going to do my best to introduce them to it. And wherever Google may fall short or they may do well, in my opinion, and what I see in tracking, I'm going to bring it up. Now, there are times where I didn't like something, but if I see the tracking is the polar opposite, I may not bring it up because it's bigger than me. All these games that were showed this weekend, I didn't care about them. Except Jedi Fallen Order and the demo that you see. We were shown over, 20 games over the 7-day course? I only cared about 3 or 4 of them, which included those two and Far Cry 5 and Far Cry New Dawn. I really don't care about, Far Cry 5 and Watch Dogs. I really don't care about anything else all like that. I want to see Uplay Plus. But because I realize that it's bigger than me, I don't make that the focus of my conversation. So believe you me, I'm not doing this for my own personal feelings. I'm doing it because of stuff that I see that we have been right on from the very start, since the very beginning of this platform. And we've been right on reporting on Xbox and PlayStation versus major publications like Windows Central. We've been right about subjects where they were wrong. These are the people sitting next to Phil Spencer. We're not. Not saying that we never had those capabilities. But we're doing our ultimate gumshoe and getting that work done. Because like I always said, I'd rather talk to John Petty of the Petty Research because he's not going to hold back with me. He's going to tell me all the numbers. Oh, your Xbox did this, Xbox did that. So I can give you the truth. If I sit with Major Nelson, Aaron Greenberg, or Phil Spencer, they're not going to tell me anything. Well, you know, MM2K, we don't talk about numbers. How does that help you? That may stroke my mane and make me feel good. Oh, I'm sitting next to Phil Spencer. That does nothing for you. And the same applies with my approach to Google. The people that I have had an opportunity to conversate with at Google, they've been fantastic to me. Some of the nicest people I've ever met, period. But that ain't got nothing to do with how I'm interacting with you. Nobody from Xbox has ever been mean to me. Nobody. I haven't talked to anybody from PlayStation, but I've never had any issues from anybody. But it's not about what they do for me. It's about what information I can give to you. So with that said, that's why I don't want to talk about Hutchinson here. I don't want to. The bigger issue to me that is more systemic is the fact that they had an opportunity to blow this fantastic demo up. Not just get some people to talk about it, but blow it up. When I'm talking about blowing up, look, Stadia globally has more engagement than Xcloud. It doesn't touch Xbox, hell no, but it has way more engagement than Xcloud. So with that being the case, any Xbox video on Xcloud or any Xbox article on Xcloud should pale in comparison to Stadia, right? Wrong. Xcloud videos are seeing the likes of 75,000 plus. That's not a proper that's not proper attachment to your engagement. You're underwater there. There's a problem that needs to be addressed. So when people come to me and say, hey, well, no, Fenyx Rising, it has 20,000 views or 25,000 views. Here, let me show y'all something real quick, and then I got to go because my wife is going to kill me. When y'all say Fenyx Rising, look at this, has 20,000 views on Stadia. Where is it at? It's got to be bigger than that. Holy cow, it only got 30. No, I thought I saw another one where, oh, Jesus. Okay, it's worse than what I thought. When y'all tell me that Fenyx Rising, Immortal Rising has 5,000 views on Stadia. Oh, and here's what it was. And 20,000 views at IGN. See if we can find it. Where's the IGN thing at? It has 20,000 views on IGN because IGN was playing it. Here it goes. 25,000 views here on IGN. Here, let me remove Clyde here. See this? 25,000 views. Let me increase that. Oh, look at that. Wrong window. How do I keep missing this damn thing? Where's that? Oh, here it goes. 25,000 views. This is the platform it was demoed on. You're trying to tell me that out of two platforms that, you know, that are reporting, or two channels that are reporting on where this thing is demoed on, you got 30,000 views. But on the platform that it's not even on, let me refresh this. On the platform that it's not even on, they got 22,000 views. That is not enough saturation. It's not. What we need, people, is we need these videos to be at like 30, 40, 50,000. I'm not saying every video, but if Google is going to do such a marketing campaign like this for us for the engagement that we're seeing globally to match the attachment as far as views and interaction, we got to see more than this. The simple fact that Fenyx, that Immortals Fenyx Rising, it has more views on a platform that you can't even play it on than the platform that you can play it on. With IGN, and or not, it doesn't have more, but it has just as many, just about. That's a problem. And it has more views. This is the demo trailer. That's the demo trailer. This is just a regular trailer. It outweighs it 5-1. That's not good attachment to your overall engagement. So yes, I'm happy that people are being exposed to it. Kind of Funny Games, IGN, it's great that they're doing this. But if I'm working at Google, and and that's where I'm throwing in my 23 years experience at a Fortune 500. If I'm working at Google, this ain't good enough to me. I'm trying to squeeze every single juice out of that fruit. And I'm doing what I can to assure that these engagements are at 30, 40, maybe even 50,000. You're not even matching the engagements of Xbox. So it's not doom and gloom, folks. I don't want to say that. I'm just saying this shows that there's more to be done. So this thing wasn't tracking, period. Even before the Alex Hutchinson stuff. These views were low hours before that. So therefore, there's still some work to do in that conversation over that pipeline between Google and the consumer. So with that said, I want to thank everybody for coming because I got a roll. It's 1:10. My wife is going to kill me. I got to think of something, y'all. Now, that's where I got to be non-transparent. I got to make up some lie. Victor Del Maestro said, amen. My homie J Lav said he's preaching. J Lav says, my wife just asked me if I'm listening to a preacher. Heath Stevens says, calm down. Hey, yo, stop, Heath. You know that's how I talk. Ain't you never seen my movies? Victor Maestro said the trend of Stadia keeps tipping over its own feet. Carl Jimenez says, I don't care what Alex said. It won't change my mind. Exactly. Yo. Jonathan DeVille says they probably won't do this, but Google needs to go hard like right now. Imagine if they drop the features and more. Yeah, I think the problem that they had with this event, the biggest takeaway is that there wasn't really enough meat for the hardcore. The hardcore felt left out, and I don't think that's a good thing. And Jonathan, I saw your tweet. I'm going to send you all those links. But guys, I got to go, guys and gals. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. We're going to do this again, and next time it'll be longer. My bad. Just so many things going on. With that said, thank you all, and have a wonderful, wonderful gaming day. Peace.